No matter how badly you might want something, there is probably a line you wouldn't cross, morals you wouldn't compromise, and oaths you wouldn't break. But for some people, what we might see as good, or even the bare minimum of decency, is simply a suggestion. Hi everyone, Ken here. Today we are uncovering Casa Encantada, the Bel Air home of Hilda Boldt Weber. Hit that subscribe button and let's explore this house. Our story begins with Hilda's husband, Charles Bolt. In 1888, at the age of 20, Charles co-founded a small glassworks company in Muncie, Indiana. It quickly grew, and by 1900, he had reorganized the company into the Charles Bolt Glass Company, expanding his operations to Cincinnati, Ohio. There he mass-produced everything from glass bottles to mason jars, shipping them out across the Midwest. He tackled each challenge with poisoned rationality, whether it was settling union disputes or dealing with natural disasters. Under his leadership, the company flourished, and by 1914 he expanded all the way out to West Virginia. Even as Prohibition loomed, he pivoted production to other household wares and remained one of the top glass manufacturers in the world, now covering the nation with factories from the East Coast to the West Coast. At 61 years old, as he looked toward retirement, he brokered a merger and walked away with tens of millions of dollars. Now about his wife, if Charles Bolt was the king of glass, Hilda Bolt was the queen, moving in for a checkmate. A Southern California transplant with a taste for the extraordinary, Hilda married Charles and quickly adapted to his world of industry and innovation. However, their union was far from ordinary. At the age of 61, Charles, who had just started his retirement and was otherwise considered very healthy, passed away suddenly in his sleep, mere weeks after the Owens Bottle Company merger. The official story? Heart complications. But whispers in Cincinnati high society suggested something more sinister. Did Hilda have a hand in her husband's untimely demise, or was she simply a grieving widow left to fend for herself with one of the largest fortunes in America? The truth remains elusive, but Hilda's next move raised some eyebrows. She wasted no time in pursuing her vision of grandeur. She relocated to Southern California, settling in Santa Barbara before commissioning the iconic Casa Encantada in Bel Air in 1936. Designed by James Delena and furnished by T.H. Robsjohn Gibbings, the sprawling, 40,000 square foot neoclassical estate was an architectural marvel. Costing over $2 million during the Great Depression, the estate symbolized her audacious spirit and yearning for acceptance among the Los Angeles elite. The entire estate was designed to leave a lasting impression, from the grand fountain anchoring the motor court to the many garden paths trailing off beyond vine-covered colonnades and terraces. Following pavers, we wind about the perfectly manicured lawns, between rows of hedges and under lush canopies. Around back we find the pool, marked by giant stone urns and separated by a retaining wall. The pool house stands at the edge of the water, with pavilions and loges creating a private courtyard around the pool. Continuing around towards the house, we find terraces with iron grills blocking tunnels that connect to the private pleasure park from the basement. Some of these terraces are more ornate than others, with intricate stone planters and water features evoking Art Deco design with subtle Greek motifs. Let's return around front and begin making our way inside Casa Encantada. We'll begin our tour from the stair hall, marked by fluted columns and delineated by a rug spanning across parquet wood floors. The grand staircase rounds out behind the columns, with its iron balustrade terminating on an incredibly ornate and freeform newel post. The house is filled with many public rooms where we can imagine Hilda entertaining high society. This one even has a built-in bar where a server would have been stationed during any one of her many soirees. We'll continue now into the living room, clad floor-to-ceiling in wood paneling. Despite its large footprint and lack of overhead lighting, the bay window allows an ample natural sunlight to illuminate the room. Looking more closely at the bay, we find built-in tufted sofas rounding out with the curve of the wall. Next, let's make our way over to the all-white music room, finished out with painted wall panels and massive mirrors. Once again, we can imagine a member of her staff gently serenading the room from the piano nearly every weekend. In the dining room, we find a dramatic contrast between the rich wood paneling and its inlays. Contrasting this further with the furnishings puts us right in the late 1930s at the height of fashion, as the style was rapidly changing from traditional to modern. Of course, Hilda would not have lifted a finger in meal prep, or any other chores for that matter. Her staff would have prepared her every meal and kept the house presentable on a moment's notice. Getting back to the public rooms, all the themes we have seen so far seem to converge on the library. Clean modernist lines paired with traditional embellishments and only the most modern of furnishings. Though her own study was far lighter and set on a more comfortable scale. The house continues on and on with many long halls serving as galleries for Hilda's art collection. We find rotundas with built-in niches and sofas set all over the house. Each room takes on its own unique characteristics, whether it be in the millwork or the artwork. Despite the grand spaces, there were also more relaxed rooms in the house, such as the game room with card tables and a bar for more casual company. Let's return to the grand staircase and make our way up to the second floor to check out some of the bedrooms. Hilda's came complete with an upholstered headboard and matching upholstered wall panels. Even a few more sofas were thrown in the mix with another ceiling height mirror. Each bedroom was more or less finished out in similar styles, though some were a tad more reserved. Despite hosting extravagant soirees and mingling with Hollywood royalty, Hilda's efforts to secure her social standing fell short. The colossal cost of maintaining her estate drained her finances, forcing her to sell Casa Encantada to Conrad Hilton in 1955 for a fraction of its value, a mere $225,000. At this point, her life was essentially over and she sealed her fate the following year. The house ended up changing hands a couple more times and thankfully continues to stand. There are a bunch of pictures of it on Zillow, and honestly, it has been exquisitely maintained and basically appears today as it did back then. And with that, I'll turn it over to you. What did you think about Casa Encantada? Let me know down below in the comments section, and while you're there, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an exciting episode of This House.